All right. Good evening, everyone. Hi, we are here celebrating Cliterati Open Mic featuring Cavar in celebration of failure to comply. They are our featured author tonight. We are super excited. But first, we're going to have a little open mic set, starting with our hostess with the mostest, Karen G. So everybody give it up for Karen G.
And out in the world, please wish Theresa a lovely mom day with Amani, her daughter, whose birthday it is today. So that's what Teresa's doing, crocheting and probably having some herbs with her daughter and chilling out. And that is so necessary in these times. In all the times. And hello, Crowdcast folks. I have some poems, of course. I found a piece today that is 10 years old. And it's one of those pieces that's like, all right, for every year you have existed, write something. And I'm not doing that when I turn 55 next year. But at 44, it created a nice little like life scan thing. So I will do that. Future poem about the Democrats wanting all my money is going to be on the way. Um, and I mean, I was voting for Harris anyway, so now it's just like everybody else is too, or not, or whatever, um, or write in your best friend if that's what you feel you need to do. All right, so this is 44. There was love, and I was a result. Screaming, grabbing, jaundiced. I hear from others I was good, happy. My favorite giggle game, dumping toys and waiting for the last one to be put back in the pen and then throwing them out all again. Milkweed stuck memory and a girl who bit a Cheshire grin into my arm are my first memories. Then came the pink shag carpet, the blue walls. I skipped school and lied. I felt bad. The nightgown I wore as a dress at school, 1976 quarters, dog bites and running, red bicycle. I always loved movement, to fly, to get away. I trapped fingers in second grade in a door. I hid in holly trees, their leaves scratching my arms. Matchbox cars and dump trucks, Snoopy and Woodstock. The moon was my friend, sometimes my only friend. 9 is the number I had trouble multiplying, the last number before double digits, falling off cliffs, wanting to be loved. Builder of igloos, I dreamed of making forts. I made up friends and stories. I stole Matchbox cars. I made columns from white ivory soap, and it got stuck in my nose. I drank cough syrup on purpose to get high and listen to disco. I wanted to be a teenager so bad. I received period packs in boxes, and I wear lip gloss badly. Then being a teenager arrived, and it was overrated. Everything is an adjustment. Teeth being caged and braced. Depressed, first stress-induced illnesses. Biofeedback, relaxing, faint, swallowing pills and sneaking smokes. Nothing worked to erase me. I made out under boardwalks and attended suicide prevention workshops trying to save myself. I had car escape dreams. I got my license. I did donuts in mall parking lots, swerved to Guns N' Roses. I had accidents in recovery. My mind opened like that parachute book. Knowledge and true histories locked systemically by isms. There was so much to drink: women, protests, anger, rainbow flags and Madonna, filmic feminism, anti-racism, classism, homophobia, heartbreak, rugby pitch, punk show, New Orleans, drinking hurricanes long before the storms, holding on tightly to friends, lovers, thinking it would be forever. Heartbreak water, cytomegalovirus, bad jobs, endless club shows, ripped shirts, heartbreak, no direction. What to do when your best friend doesn't want to live anymore. Prickly year of survival from 13 stories up, fog and snowy windows, brain injury and painkiller addiction, slivering. The answer always seemed to be a girl. Happiest of discoveries, love in other languages sounded softer. Best year of my life so far was then, is a punk show, is now. Wandering, wanderlusty, coffee and odd jobs, crooked, cobbled views, experiences of autumn take root in my marrow. Return to the gritty city of Philadelphia as a barista with 5 a.m. bagels. Mom's fight with cancer. I am not in the band. I am here to see the band. I am U-Haul. I am driving south to kudzu, greens, lush, dirty with this age, finding my voice again, finding I have a throat. I start shit up. I always have started shit up. DIY with a pen. I make a living with book spines. Jesus left me with the nails. Volunteering, I find more loudmouths. Southwest bloggers come to life, sacred hearts blazed on our shirts, and then a flood. Austin again. Nothing like Texas summer. This time, 4 is enough. There is writing on porches. There is best friendship solidifying over visual response poems. A drowning, a cello, a girls' rock camp, lightning, weird sounds I didn't know my body could make. Bunny ears, deaths, rains, car crashes, a boy I kissed gone. I cannot spell innocence anymore. The best teams I've ever known are in poetry. I am, over another decade. The magnetic pulls toward the Rockies like a pole. I didn't find the meaning of life here or there, but mother, unsolvable mysteries. The year of letting and letting go and small things and becoming granulated, horns and gristle, and my anchor is always dredging up, and I am always floating onward. So that was a 10-year-old poem, and I just found it, and I was like, oh, and it's a writing prompt, list as many years and like things that you know, and living is expensive, first memories, all that kind of stuff. Hi, how you doing tonight? Hi. Does anybody want to volunteer to go after me first? You do. And your name, please. Noel Heatherland. They, them. Hello. Hi. And you're first on the list like you mean it. That's awesome and rad. Come on up, Heatherland. No, I'm sorry. It's Noel, but Heatherland.
Yeah. It's a chosen last name.
That's awesome.
It's a blend of 2 of my chosen family members' last names.
That's awesome. I love it. Give it up for Noel.
A queer love story in 3 parts. Part 1. Magical, as in purple and unicorns and glitter. Jay Larson wrote of baggage matching. What about matching magic? Smiling while on a skateboard with a smile. Some kids grow up playing with Barbies. Maybe I get to play with one now. Hi, Barbie. Spectacular, as in everything, your eyes, your art, all of it. Finding the perfect dress at a thrift store, meeting you in a thrift store of people, used up, maybe damaged, and then a perfect match within a sea of too hots, too colds, too much, and not enoughs. Expansiveness becomes art of authenticity. Ah, there you are. Recognizable, as in my soul knows yours. Were you my lover in a past life? Feeling brand new and familiar all at once. The best kind of butterflies floating on air. Part fire, part ram, breath fuels flames. Imagine flying, not us against the world, but above it. Unicorns ablaze in love. Part 2. I wanted to die today, but instead I laid on the bathroom floor and had a panic attack while my 3 dogs took turns licking my tears. I wanted to die today, but instead I took a stupid walk for my mental health. I looked at the trees and wore sunglasses so passersby couldn't see I was crying. I wanted to die today, but instead I took turns talking to my best friends and they took turns listening to me cry, and then we made plans for tomorrow. I wanted to die today because living with complex PTSD, wanting a hug from your mom that you will never get, repeating patterns that you wish you could fucking stop. Sometimes it's true that you might want to die today, but maybe it's just today. You could wait and see how you feel tomorrow or the next day because your feelings might change. Dying is forever. Part 3. When I was a child, my mother left my sister and me just for a few minutes to get the car and come pick us up. We had went to the airport for a field trip. We were homeschooled, but we had to have our socialization somehow so they could feel good about the ways they sheltered us from the world, but still made sure we saw other living, breathing human beings on a regular basis. And anyway, as little 8-year-old me watched my mom drive the car away from where my sister and I stood, suddenly I convinced myself she was leaving us for good. Apparently, though, that was just how it looked for her to circle back to pick us up. But little 8-year-old me was bawling by the time the car made it up to where my sister and I waited. My mom said, "I would never leave you. Why would you even think that?" My fears were so silly, my emotions so absurd, but little queer me knew the truth. Maybe not that day, but one day, my mom would abandon me. It was only silly and absurd because I fell in line. I was the perfect child, ever striving to please my mother. How do you trust anyone? Really trust them? After you know that not being a certain kind of person, not always making someone else happy, means they will eventually leave. Even if I try really hard, really fucking hard, I've had to work my ass off to not feel like that little 8-year-old girl every time I fall in love with someone. But the truth is, every time my queer lover leaves me, I cry for my mother.
Thank you so much for that. That was, I know, that totally relatable, especially for those of us who had difficult relationships with parents. Okay, who wants to go now? Or I'll just call on somebody like a Ouija. Lacey Wilder. Yes. Do you need to sit or stand, or how do you want to? Okay. Very beautiful guitar. Yes. Give it up for Lacey, y'all. Just move whatever.
She is probably out of tune, so let me. Hello. I just moved to Atlanta like 6 weeks ago, and thank you. And I love poetry and I love songwriting, and I'm like trying to put myself out there and like build queer community. So I'm glad I found this on Instagram. And this is a song called Venus of Suburbia.
Venus is so virtuous, so piously polite. She's born to be convenient and she's known for being nice. But lately femininity ain't feeling so divine. This passive likability is something I don't. Feeling like a big fish in a small pond who's got bigger fish to fry. But Venus of suburbia, she's never out of line. Maybe I won't start her evolution with the whole world on my side. But nobody can say I didn't try. I can I be loved by everyone if I'm one of a kind? The only bird who never ruffles feathers when they fly. I want the kind of kindness where my money's where my mouth is. 'Cause nobody can heal the world by building picket fences. Feeling like a big fish in a small pond who's got bigger fish to fry. But Venus of suburbia, she's never out of line. Maybe I won't start her evolution with the whole world on my side. But nobody can say I didn't try. I build your picket fences to the sky and stay petite and stay polite. I think the girls are not alright, but I'm still laughing when they ask me, what would Jesus do? Then think I got it wrong. 'Cause I became a communist who won't get off their lawn. Botticelli, Springsteen, bitch, I'm Venus born to ride. So someone sent suburbia my love. I'm a big fish in a small pond who's got bigger fish to fry. Venus of subservience, my middle finger's high. So somebody tell me where to stick it, to the man or to the sky, and watch me scream suburbia goodbye. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So, yes, we're here on third Thursdays, and we have so many Thursdays this month. This is awesome. And please come back around again. That's awesome. Thank you so much. It is every third Thursday we're here. But there are also like a bunch of open mics, which you might know or may not know. I don't know. I think there's still one over at Red Light Cafe, and then Eddie's has the musicians. Eddie's has the big ones. Yeah. So, there are lots of places to go to try things out. There's also Arts Exchange, which is on the west side, and there's the open mic there too. And I'm sure Theresa would love to hear you sing too. So thank you and welcome home. So Lacey Wilder, remember them. Okay. Next, Teddy. Teddy, come on, Ted. So I wasn't going to read this poem tonight, and now I'm here, and now I'm going to read this poem tonight. But I'm going to give a little background on it because, so this past month, I keynoted at a high school Christian youth conference in North Carolina, and I keynoted about my relationship with God and being queer and how I find more strength in that. And as you may realize, at a Christian youth conference there were a lot of people that weren't out, but are queer, but have never seen an openly queer person. And this poem is about people coming to me for advice and me feeling like I wasn't good enough, and lots of shame and anger in those moments because I just didn't feel like I could give what they needed. So yeah. The nights that God sacrifices their precious time to show you they love you, do you listen? When you hear the birds chirp, the creeks trickle, the violins rise to a chorus of angels, do you listen? When a leaf flutters down from its tree where it rested, waiting for your arrival, landing on your forehead where your mother kissed you as a child to put you to rest, do you listen? Do you listen? Do you listen to the call to climb the tree so you may say hi to every leaf, make small talk about the weather and how it has prevented the leaves from growing into who they want to be? Who do you want to be? And why do you ask me when the peace you seek is calling to you every day, but you won't listen? Do you fear? Do you fear? What is fear but a manipulator? One who makes you ugly and swollen, one who has put an ice pack on to fill, when you put an ice pack on to dull the swelling that will rise again tomorrow because you only know how to treat the symptom and not the cause. You look to me, eyes lost, asking me what to do, and I'm honored. I am honored you hold me in regard. I am honored to be the first openly queer person you have ever known, and I want to help you. I do, but I don't know how. I don't know how to care for someone I just met. Shit, all I did was talk to you from a stage. There were 803 other people in that audience. I don't know you. I don't know how to help you, and I'm mad at myself that I don't know how. I'm mad at myself that I didn't set my boundaries. I'm mad at myself that I can't even write right now because I can't put words to this feeling. And I always have words. I always have a metaphor, a simile, an alliteration or allegory for the times I'm distraught, but I don't. I don't feel fucking fancy. I'm mad at myself for being mad at a trans baby who was just trying to reach out to someone. I'm mad at myself for making myself available when I don't have the bandwidth and that when it's someone else's job. I'm mad because I couldn't find the right words, and I may have hurt them when I knew that what was right for me was to walk away and put them in better, more godly hands. And I'm mad right now. I am not trusting God to take care of them, and I haven't even been praying for God to do so. So that was that one. Don't have a title. I'm gonna do a couple more that are a little more heartfelt. Okay, another one I haven't titled. You said it's going to be weird the next time you're in love. I know you just got contacts today, but girl, you are still blind. An eye exam can't make you see the love pouring out of me. The nights we call till too tired to sleep, 2 a.m. with work in the morning, prolonging goodbye because I want the image of you, the cadence of your voice to guide my dreams to reality. Short little one. Another one not titled, and a couple more short ones. There's something beautiful about a street light shining through the mist and how it mirrors internal life. Breathing in fresh water moistens my soul with the blooming of new life. I turn to a song to cry to. The next I dance. The next I laugh, then smile when an old feeling of lost love bubbles to the surface, which somehow leads me to doing all at once. I wish to continue living this way. Mist distorting what is real, fractionating the light, so it is no longer perfect, but somehow more beautiful.
one more. I wrote this on my birthday, which is Halloween. And it was a month after me and my ex broke up, who I very dearly love and still do, as you may have just heard. But but at the time, I needed time to myself to figure out who I am and take care of myself, which hate how that happens. It's my birthday. You're not here. That's okay. I have others, and it allows me to feel. I have God, the trees, birds chirping happy birthday as I walk down a path of fallen leaves. They crunch. An undertone of jazz floats in the air, the reds and yellows mixed with green, a salad for me to eat. The colors nourish me. Vibration of life and earth, soil and soul become one on the day of my birth. Thank you. I also just want to say thank you to Charis and y'all for having this event. I go back to New York on Sunday to go to school, and yeah, but this event has been some of the highlights of my summer. So thank you, and thank you for making these spaces.
Teddy, if you're comfortable, how can we stay in touch with you? Or you could stay in touch with us even. If you write something and you could send it to us and I'll read it and I could wave to you from the crowdcast. Like, that would be awesome. Still have you, yeah, because we have the crowdcast, so we could still make something happen and be in touch and everything else. And I really I love that part about in that first piece where it's like just raw and you have some imposter thing going and you're like angry and frustrated, because I feel like that is also like an opening too. And it's when we don't have that kind of insecurity, at least me, like, because this past weekend I did a big poetry thing and I had that like creeping insecurity and and it's when I don't have that feeling that I kind of worry, like it's like, dude, I am not the shit. You know what I mean? Like when you're like, oh, I don't want to be like that. You know what I'm so like that feeling of like being in a place and just being like, that's a faith thing too. Like you're in there with like a bunch of people. It's like a religious setting, right? And yet you're there for a reason. Like even who knows what'll happen to the queer kids who remember, oh my God, I saw the queer, there's somebody else who looks like, oh God, yeah. And so then our reach is like further than we can ever imagine, really. So thank you for sharing that piece. That's really awesome. And have a great semester, or where you're going. Where are you going? All right, Long Island. Oh my God. Eat all the pizza for me. Yes. Okay. And with that, I'm going to bring up my friend Jill, who shares so many spaces with me and is an outrageous voice. So bring it up for Jill.
I'm going to take this thing off while I read. Sorry. Well, I'm going to try not to read. I'm actually here because I'm trying to slam, and I've now got 15 slam poems, and I'm trying to memorize some of them. Well, I've got some of them memorized, but these are some new ones I've been working on, and it's really important to do your slam poems in front of an audience. You can get them down pat in front of the mirror, and there you are with an audience, totally different thing. Okay, this first one, Karen tells me, do not say the titles, just start right in. Once women burned bras in Miss America pageants to protest being harnessed into male expectations of our bodies, to being sexualized into masculist imaginations of what these practical pockets of flesh entail. The pleasure of feeding a sucking child, but sensual, secret. I toss my bras, content commando, year after year, comfortable in myself the way I am. But when the person I wanted cut their eyes around my chest like, does she have any? I didn't miss the Trump era gesture, nor was it painless. I put on sports bras, not a comfortable way to spend the day, and took my credit card and daughter-in-law to try on her favorites. This is at least an hour-long spending ordeal. I had no idea how gray the dressing room light would turn my hair. No clue to size, breast meat, rib cage, smaller and larger, larger and smaller than I remembered. Once trapped and squeezed into various configurations, the sides, the back, the fabrics changed, the shape of things pushed up, cleavaged into round mounds, $50 worth of 2-for-1s. Soft in a remote way, I stroked my lifted breasts and felt not flesh, but some man-made shape of me in there somewhere. I gave them my credit card. I took this fake self home. So look at me now. Acceptable mystery. Harnessed again. Insulted.
Yes.
Okay, this is the newest one I've been working on trying to memorize. And we'll see how it goes. I was the ruined city. Let me start over, sorry. I was the ruined city filled with rubble, damn it, I can't do it. All right. I was the ruined city filled with rubble, half walls, leaning streets, buried, no living soul, no sound except another collapse. You were a slight breeze clearing the air, laughter flying like birds where there were no birds. We thought we'd win something, fight back, survive. We thought it was worth fighting for a place to stand. Now, nothing more than wind, wreckage. We built, we destroyed, as preventable as a cancer from smoking. The city smoldering, silent. You found me there in my damage and urged me on, but I was the city and could not be other than ruined, could not pick up my crumbling walls and dark excavations. Perhaps a yellow curtain fluttered dirty against the sky, against the shelter of solitary ruins. We're small, so I'm going to do another one. This is a very, This is a very, very old poem, but I've been trying these out, and they seem to like this one. So, as important as any other leaf in the forest, Rachel tells a story for the work circle. It was, she says, my grandmother with 2 children to feed before welfare, only one sister working for over a year, and her sewing in a giant room with men strolling the aisles, forbidding conversation. Not that exactly, but I kept remembering my grandmother and the theory, the appendage to a machine, not spirit, but arm, loader, filler, catch, and again in a mockery of art. And each part 8 pounds to lift, insert, catch, stack, until my mind couldn't lift without tears, and the tears wouldn't stop their rhythm for reason or even a lack of despair, a desire to continue all the way to respect, from the clerk cashing my check at the grocery store to my daughter's smile as we pay the rent and settle in. But no. Tears pour into the glass of afternoon, noticed, questioned, reported, to the little box of an office sitting midway to the other wall, almost hazed in distance, where I must walk without a care for the streaked eyes flooding my face, the stares of men and women. Sent home, I faced her, dry-eyed, and told the story. Almost. They're getting there. I've got another month.
Yeah. Thank you, Jill. You want your mask? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jill. Thank you. Thank you, Jill. We also do online Java Speaks every Sunday, just about every Sunday we can make. It's a virtual reading space. There's a prompt at 7:30 and then the open mic at 8. So that's something to check out. And Jill and I are regular there too. And then next, closing, unless anybody else wanted to sign up for read, Emily Aleph. Yes. Hi. Did I say that correctly? I'm reading handwriting. Emelina. Emelina. That's beautiful. Yes, please welcome up Emelina.
Okay. So I have a poem that I was going to read. I got new contacts and I can see far, and I'm having a hard time seeing near, and I don't have those things called progressives. But I do have this cute magnifying glass that I found. However, when I do this, it's hard to read and I'm reading slow. I have a text to voice application that I'm going to do. Yeah. So I'm using it's an AI like reader on an iPhone. The poem is about productivity being a privilege, a blessing, and a curse. It's called Mining with the Polymer Fae by me, Emelina. Hopefully this works. Oh.
Mining with the Polymer Fae by Emmeline Aleph. We are kinetic trees, flora and fauna on a celestial body, with a convergence of orbital eccentricities, being closest to one, approaching parabolic velocity, of comets and Lannisters, fading footprints, from this fasting, for hunger and warmth. Meanwhile, the sand beneath our toes, on the ocean shore, can easily weather and disappear, or turn to metamorphic stones, under the pressure of so much water, undeciding to stay unrooted or grounded, our branches desperately reaching for contact with one another, static, unmoving, yet still unfully planted, all the while staying connected, to the skin of our cosmic rock and roll, a gravity and subterranean anchor, keeping us upright, which is a running risk of being, sensationally invasive. Speaking of the senses as being to me, conditioned to be American, rugged individuals, pursuing and seizing all to be called mine, a mining in other words, for packets of data and diamonds, for a possession, that impresses the sand, either knowledge or currency or freedom, and I don't know the difference, between them, but what is this mine you are mining? Ask the finders to the keepers, a morning song, for the losers and weepers. We trees are carbon sinks, as we breathe and thrive, we naturally exhale oxygen, but when a community burns, the dioxide clouds up the skies, where we all wanna fly, and talk to the birds. If only, we realized, if only, we grounded harder, if only, we could become diamonds, with all this carbon inside us, if only, we could just grow down, 90 more miles, where the pressure and heat turns, our insides into outsides, instead of trying to grow up, thinking we need oxygen, we could really grow deeper, into the depths of the mine known as ourselves. Growing up has always had its limitations in thinking, so, with all the powers and authority that be, I hereby sentence myself, grounded for all of eternity, beneath the medium air, beneath the oceans, beneath the sand, where impressions are everything. The polymer phi hide in the depths of the expeditious vines, serving as time that connect our branches, enrapturing us to one another, living above the sandy surface, but underneath the evergreen holly, to share a light that was left on, planted by our experiences, watered weekly on Sunday, by the presence of your essence. We trees can actually feel each other, via these air weeds, that will choke us out like pythons. At first the quantum entanglement looks pretty and it's what the phi crave, but it evolves too unkempt and untidy, and too toxic to breathe, wanting to dissipate. But entropy has a bad rap. Just like anarchy, at least that's what they want us to believe. Seemingly our only hope is to let them chop us down, split us into logs, to be mixed in heaps, awaiting the burn. And I've heard long ago you'll wait for my return to ashes for mixing, comfortable knowing we never really leave each other's sides, as we float in 3D space, held here by our planet's atmosphere. On a universal scale, proximity takes and gives a different meaning, and we are really right next to each other. In that galactic sense, we are still ever closer to our enemies than we are to Deneb, Altair, and Vega, appearing as a flat plane in the summer triangle. Space isn't flat, just like the Earth, even with telescopic vision, revealing a changing of season. Spring has no choice but to yield the arrival of summer, and I still hope that when the kudzu blankets us, it pulls us together. Did you know in the East, that stuff is medicine and they say it tastes like spinach? Popeye knew what to do with it, as if it were pride. But where we have lived, it's suffocating. I learned what a global endemic was this last year. For foliage it's being native, and this is creative, because for disease it's pervasive, enough to call it a baseline, one that holds steady on the heartbeat, for all to experience. This conditioning force is unthinking, so anything outside the baseline is called a foul ball. Let's paint our hits outside the lines, change the rules of the games we decided to play, and realize we are actually on the same team, with our own rules, and no rulers, welcoming one another in our peacefulness and community of self, that we long for with one another, yet we are chopped, split, splintered, and aged. My canopy burns into embers, to mix ashes with you, as you wished upon a star. They only took the parts they could see were useful, but one man's trash is another person, a treasure. So with my roots they left for rot, I will still keep digging deeper, for my last bits to become diamonds, finding the pressure to crystallize, because the amount of fuel we have inside each of us is truly electric. But I'm no longer mining, I'm yours-ing, because I want my witness exactly that. It's where I will be waiting for you, as the air up here wasn't working amongst all that burning and dioxide. So, I will wait out the billion years that the taking takes, to shine like a crazy diamond, hoping and dreaming you will mine for me as a diamond you want to call yours, a girl's best friend, because it's what I am, supposing and choosing to be. Until then, I hope you keep breathing well enough to oxygenate a choking world, and if you grow weary, just start digging, and they'll follow behind, soon to discover there's no such thing as this mine.
Thank you. I'm Emelina.
That was really gorgeous and fitting at the same time. Like, I was like, oh, where's the audiobook of all these poems? Like, with that kind of thing. That's really awesome. Thank you for that. Yes, yes. So welcome. Also, I'm noticing you're wearing an Operation Ivy shirt, which is punk as fuck. Thank you so much. And with that, we have our fabulous feature, and I'm looking forward to hearing about this and the reading. And I love this question: these questions of how far would you go to have real freedom, to have true autonomy, both of mind and body? The narrator of failure to comply wants self-determination at all costs, and they want you to know what it did, in fact, cost them. And I think that is like such a great intro. I'm like, oh, tell me more, please, with your book, Failure to Comply, which I also love the title. So welcome up our featured reader tonight, Cavar, with the Failure to Comply. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Can you all hear me? The mic is a little bit high, but I don't want to like mess with it too much. I'll just leave it there and hope. I'm Cavar. This is my first novel, Failure to Comply. It's been a long time coming, and I want to thank, before I sort of get into reading, my former professor and friend, Sam Ace, for encouraging me to come to this. I really enjoyed working with him back at Mount Holyoke, which is where I went to undergrad. And it's really amazing to reconnect here and to see everybody. So thank you. And thank you, Atlanta, for this wonderful space. I'm going to be reading from this book, which actually fits really, really well with the previous poem. It deals with a lot of things, including memory and speculative possibilities sort of beyond police states and beyond fascism, and also kind of ambivalently with data and data mining and memory, the kinds of relationships that we form in these sort of imperfect spaces. So I'm going to read to you first from the prelude in the beginning, and then I'm going to read you a passage that I think it pretty well exemplifies a lot of the tonal and thematic elements of the book. It involves weapons and weapons, both physical and also immaterial. But I'll start with the prelude. The long-necked axe struck clean out of me my most beloved memories. Had my beloved been here with me, they could not have helped. There are things I learned that they cannot do. As for me, there was never hope for correction, as all my impurities have long known love. There comes a time when the bad is loved so much it can neither be corrected nor lived without. Love is like a binding seal, a wax to keep the imperfection in, thick enough for water to skim yet never penetrate. Without the love, we become easy to replace. What is to be replaced when the eyes are shut, when the eyes are on other things? An axe turned me from a loved into a silence. This was final cut, the thing to separate me from all I loved. Here I was at the brink of everything real. Nothingness rung cool and sure in its wake, but I would not know, because by then I was long gone. Slated for replacement, I was naked and uncitizen. Eventually, I would receive a gown light as air, translucent and white, all white, so white it hurt my eyes, even when the lids were shut. The opacity of a citizen's clothes turned, when I wore them, to a joke-like gauze, transparent as, but I ahead myself. No, I was wrapped in a gauze that served no purpose but shame. With the swing of an axe, one makes a citizen's arrest, a process by which the one swinging reasserted his or her status as citizen by stripping an impure body of its own. And what does that make me? I was a person soon ago. Then research saw me hide, brought me back into the fold to be cast out once more. I am trying to be clear with you, but I can only speak in riddles. I've lost all the meaning that lived in my memories. I don't know which tense I'm living in, but this is not the future. I've lost the words to say what I have to say. I used to have a name. I used to have a place. I have a face I shouldn't see. I have a body I shouldn't hold the way I do. I know this. In life, there are the directives. There are those who obey. There are those who are obeyed, and the non-existent in between. There is no love, I learned. There is only power. Love is a means of pushing power down easy, of opening the throat. It is said, I do this because I love you. Why do you do this? There are people who love you. So it is said, love becomes the direction and force and frequency of power transmuted one body to the next. Love is the soft touch of power. Love is the research to its citizen. Love is the perverse. Love is your sick. Please get better for me, sick, better for all of us, sick and get better. Let us be whole and let us love again. Let love be the blade. And it is said, I am a person, been held captive for all these long years, for none of which she had a clock. She is I. She is me. She is in a holding cell. She is somewhere else. She could not mark the time. She has no proof. She has no body to speak of and no place. So she is many at once, and lacuna requisites the whole. The beverage was blue, glowing quiet power. Microchips failed in the face of whatever was inside. Magnets dulled, minds cracked, metal turned to hot pain, and only flesh and blood and bone were spared. It was an addition of dead weight. Dragged, drugged down, immobilized as a means of torture and correction, and also of detection. When a subject who passed outwardly as pure was brought in for questioning, they were first measured all over to determine their adjacency to the correct size, which changed each year. Their blood was cross-referenced with their birth data. The constant backlog of subjects for assessment produced yearly chaos at the containment centers as research determined who was to be let go, who was to stay, and who was to be let go but chipped, because they would most likely need to be contained once more the coming year. In the year whose end research alone declared with pageantry, and all whose ages did not increase and whose lives did not progress, were the first of that coming year to be gone, to be axed away into elsewhere. Do you understand? The words belong to them. Research is hiring again. They haven't hired like this since before I was born, taking only trainees schooled in truth from birth. Yet the notification blinked on every holoscreen in the community, jarring bites of color and sound. With the reissue of their internal guidelines for public health, I knew research had detected an increase in cases of deviance. I suspected their search was for doctors to attend to the veritable epidemic in our midst. And so research advertised research, this thing of and beyond citizenship, stretching all imposing over it, to the everyday citizens scrolling with their pupils through the notifications in their AR contacts. They strode uniform over barren sidewalks flanked by new grass, eyes darting to one side and another. I felt sad almost, before remembering that any of them would have me obliterated if given the chance. They'd get rid of me, claiming I had never been alive at all. The new grass breezed by citizens' feet. Each body took an upright stride, straight-backed and intentional as the healthy body should. From where I sat, the face of the community was barren, abandoned for the AR. There was little to watch with unaugmented eyes, but the bodies and their calculated movements. With the widespread acceptance of holoscreens and its accompanying AR contacts, the background world has fallen into misuse to Dahlgren monochrome. From my space among the trees, I saw a world of wide, new grass expanses and a dense, translucent whiteness. White houses, white garments, people who aspire to look like window glass, whose skin, despite transparent aspirations, came most frequently in various opaque shades of brown and beige, which were rendered irrelevant by the contacts, but displayed in their stead only a word, another measure, which was of utmost importance, because it was true. Bodies, too, those shrouded in loose white linens, were marked by sex. Research is hiring, maker of the contacts, guardian of truth. As a child, I watched my peers study their numbers. Back then, I had the contacts too, and studied my own with attention. Height, weight, blood pressure, heart rate. Because we could not touch each other's skin, an act of perversity worth a diagnosis of acute self-sovereignty dysfunction. This is the way we became of each other. Research is hiring, calling upon others to help protect us from ourselves, from the bodies we are bound to mismanage. Research is hiring. We saw the message uncontacted because it was projected against the sky, the lid, some other uncitizen, augmented by some form of illicit tech or another, must have found a way to siphon the message from the network and reproduce it by themselves. I looked to Rhea at my far left and asked them with my eyes if they could see the counterfeit above us. From the distance, I could see them, a basket of fungi on one sweating arm, sharp dotted chin upturned. Rhea did not watch the ad, but instead the sun in its timed daily rise, leaning forward on their shining silver crutches. When the timed breeze came, Rhea's black, unwieldy hair, thick and waist length, rose and fluttered with the leaves on the trees, which themselves swayed and bowed slightly in the wind. Feeling my eyes on them, they turned, beginning to make their way back to my side. With their free hand, they reached out to touch me, brushing pearls of dirt from my thinning chest hair. Last night, we slept in a tiny ditch, beneath the moss and dirt, with holes poked for breathing. This morning, we ate dirty leaves and sweet roots from our newly excavated hole. I returned their hand to them, guiding it to their hair, brushing until the stray detritus hit the ground by the base of their crutches. Research is hiring. The text began to move closer to our hiding place, drifting through the sky. I heard a rustling far away and saw a four-legged silhouette in the distance. Something was attached to its back. It was a small, noticeable protrusion that seemed to wave as the uncitizen moved, the message bobbing with it from the sky. Another rustle. I dug my filthy fingernails into my palms. The silhouette and the rustle grew closer, the pirate message glistening in the now risen sun. Rhea and I dove into our sleeping hole, recovering with dirt and moss, disappearing at the still nearing sounds. Research is hiring. Do you want to be the future of our good nation? And I'm going to move to the back to bookend this. So this is a vignette about weapons. The physical weapon of choice here is an axe. You can decide for yourself what the non-physical weapon is. There's a series of vignettes at the end, Acts 1, Acts 2, Acts 3, etc. I'm going to read Acts 1, and the subtitle of this one is Above. Rise, the tawny light, woods high around us, bones below, trees scrape the lid, the real lid through which the sun burns. I see a body in the distance. I am running, and so are they. We know this, all know this. The hills we are each running down are the same hill, but we are running each opposite to one another, and this all goes smoothly. I know it's in my hands, big bladed. I know the sound my voice made when I begged for a chance. I begged to be the woman I could not be, believed in her, my only hope, knowing elsewhere underneath. This was the woman meant to be me, and this is where I am. And the axe, I am her. I am practicing. I swing it at the air. Light chafes our surroundings. I run. Watch as a younger, smaller, and more poisonous me makes to swing. I see neither deviant nor person, but instead an axe-wielding cloud of data, every sentence laden as if an accusation. Then she transforms, and I become a body of severed limbs, their foot-trodden filth. I am every organ I have ever stepped upon, and then I am her. I am the axer itself. I know this data is from my own mind, data mined by research, now seized upon by a hand I cannot see. I am watching what might be possible. Sentences, my sentence. The cat drinks milk, my window is broken, the store is closed, again a wiggling foot, a thigh, several eyes lolling at random beneath the axe blade. Fragments, amalgamations of all I have already seen. I pull back, let go, the scene dims. I do not float toward the poisonous me. This me did not swing. The pile lulled, spat, made unnatural sounds sounds I anticipated would continue long after I left, if there was leaving. Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome. And now we can linger a little bit and ask some questions, buy some books. And I'm looking at the calendar and also my shirt. The next Outrageous Voices writing retreat will be on October 17th at Indian Springs Park. Let's see. The next time we are here is September 19th. So yeah, you can check us out, reach out to Java Speaks or Arts Exchange is another place to check out. And then ER, what's happening here in between times?
Yeah.